Hi guys, welcome to Rootstem, and in today's video I'm going to be looking at the changes made to the tournament games or match play games going forward. Hello guys, thank you very much for joining me. As you can tell from the last video, I talked about the rulebook. I'm not going to go through the rules in this because I know that the Grand Tournament Pack does actually have a set of rules in it as well. Those effectively are the same that has been covered in the previous video. We are going to talk about the Grand Tournament 2020 Mission Pack and how it's going to affect a lot of tournament or match play games. I like my narrative, not so bothered about match play games going forward. A lot of these are more clarifications on older rules, and some of them are kind of tweaks just to be able to stop gamey individuals, or even, I suppose the best way of putting it with some of the rules, it even makes sure that you can create an army build that's still, that's not going to be too, oh god, I best not take this because this is going to happen in the main games, or someone can take advantage of this rule. It's going to allow just a lot more spread of different armies that you're going to be able to see and face. So one of the first ones that a lot of people online have been talking about is the determining first turn. Now, normally, this is not, if you put this just on its own, this doesn't really mean anything. When players roll off, the winner takes the first turn. That's taking the control away from the player so that you've got no choice now on whether you go first or second. What does make it quite interesting, which I am going to skip forward, is this bit here. Now, this section here is in the 5th battle round, the player who has the second turn does not score any victory points at the end of their command phase, but instead, at the end of their turn, they score 5 victory points for each of the above conditions they satisfy, which is basically the primer of the take and hold objectives. That's very interesting, especially for units such as fast moving. So if you've got a knight army, for example, that's got a lot of Armiger Warglaves rather than the standard big lads, they can hide, they can move fast. I think they've got a base move of 14. So effectively, if you start running them, with some re-rolls, you could just literally, on the last turn of the game, if you're second, jump on a load of objectives. I'm not quite sure where this has come from. A lot of my games, I have noticed, tend to start finishing around turn 3, turn 4. You don't tend to get to turn 5. But I suppose, depending on who you're fighting, if they're going second, they're taking a bit of a beating. They could always try and hide out of the way and then just jump on objectives right at the last minute, because you won't have to sit on them. In turn 4, this is just an example of play that could actually happen with this. If you're going second, in turn 4, you sit on your objective. You score the 5, 10 or 15 victory points for the objectives held, and then you can fall back in your movement phase and disappear. And then at the end of your 5th turn, you can jump back on those objectives. Now, I'm wondering if this is a balancing act. I'm wondering if a lot of people that are basically getting the second turn of the game are getting a bit more beat up or battered. I am not noticing this, but I use a lot of line of sight blocking terrain on my tabletops. So you tend to find that we've got firefight and firefight allies. I also put the terrain down before rolling for the mission. So sometimes some of the mission objectives end up in certain places where you can hide to hold them, and somebody else has got to try and drag you off. I just find the game more entertaining and a lot better that way. But that, taking the choice away and making it so the turn 2 player is going to have the choice, is very, very, very different. Again, people like Elder as an example. Elder armies, I've got a massive Elder army, which I can either take as huge infantry units, or I can take it as a huge tank formation. This is going to change how I'm playing with those armies. If I'm going second, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if I'm going second, because I can hide, I can move my units out of the way with some stratagems, and then effectively I can just spend majority of the game not being overly aggressive in the first few turns, which is a detriment to a lot of those armies. A lot of those armies suffer by being very aggressive, especially squishy ones. Genestealer Cult comes into that as well. If Space Marines don't, it doesn't matter for Space Marines. They can just jump and jump off. They can take the hits. Imperial Guard can take the hits because you just keep replacing it with units. Although I haven't looked at the points value changes, so you might not be able to anymore. But that is definitely a game changer going forward, especially when you're playing those match play games. Now, I had a look at We Stand, We Fight in my previous video. It basically means that if you've got units that are splitting up or you've got less than 3 units in your army, then of course they're going to be the primary objectives. It's mainly, this is more of a clarification rather than a massive rules change. Bring it down though is what I was saying earlier. This is another, to me, another big change. One of the things I'm finding with 9th edition is the line of sight blocking, the objective holding is forcing people. I suppose if you wanted to be a bit more gamey, you're kind of having to have an army that's got a bit of everything. And your tactical units, what I mean by tactical units, I don't just mean tactical squads. I mean the units that fulfill that short 24 to 30 inch distance roll with 12 to 30, I would say. So with your bolters, your las guns, hell, even guardian squads, I would probably bring into that sort of category of a tactical unit. I'm finding a lot more people are taking transports for them. So I'm actually taking more transports for my Imperial Guard squads. I'm finding other people are taking more transports for tactical troops. The Primaris version of tactical, completely forgot what it's called at the moment. People are getting more transports for those guys. My Eldar, as an example, I tend to take a hell of a lot of transports, but they've got a really good transport in the form of a Wave Serpent, which actually comes into the second category. Now, previously, you scored 2 victory points for every enemy monster or vehicle you killed, and 3 victory points if it was over 20 or more wounds. Now, they've kind of added a third bracket. So if a unit is 10 or less, it's worth 1 VP. So that's the realm of your Rhino, your Chimera. It's also the realm of like a Ridge Runner for the Genestealer Cult. But it's also the realm of a Goliath Rock Grinder. I think emulators also come into this particular category. A lot of Orc trucks. So if you were running like a Cult of Speed, sometimes Bring It Down was a bit, because trucks can be quite easy to destroy. So people were taking this and scoring a lot of victory points. I have seen that myself. We've got an Orc player. He's a good lad. But, if you're taking a lot of those vehicles, we're destroying them. And, of course, we're achieving a hell of a lot of VPs for it. So that I like. I like the fact that if you've got, you're having to take out 2 vehicles to get the same amount of points value as you did before. I like it. That's a really good change, Workshop. That is a very good change. That is going to sort of mean that people will now look at taking possibly like a Rhino or Razorback-based army for the Space Marines, Chimera heavy, so Armoured Fists. You might see coming a lot more Armoured Fist style armies coming back into it, which you do need transports in 9th edition, in my opinion. You need a good transport. You need something to be able to help you either jump on an objective for you or screen you while you're on an objective yourself. And the rest of the errata is simply rules I've already gone over in my previous video talking about the core rule changes. So if you want to have a look at that, hopefully I'm going to include a link up at the top right. Sometimes I forget, so if I've forgotten, I do apologise. I try my best, but sometimes these things happen. But that's really much it. It's mainly just to talk about those little changes there, those 3 little changes that's impressed me, especially that and that. That's going to make the games very different. I know there's a door. Oh, that a door over which? Apologies, I did forget to talk about that. You cannot select the objective if your arm includes any Psyker units. I think that's still the same. For every 1 enemy Psyker unit that is destroyed or character. Again, it'll just be classifications or clarifications, possibly when you're versing Thousand Sun armies, because they tend to have a lot of Psykers in there. Although you can actually have quite a lot of Psykers in it. Well, I'm saying you can have a lot of Psykers in an Elder army. You can't anymore because Warlocks are still HQs. I'm wondering if their codex ever gets redone, they will move a Warlock into an Elite's choice. That would probably make more sense. Maybe even move a couple more of the, maybe even move a couple of the Aspect Warrior squads into the troop choice. But that's for me rambling for another day. Right, thank you very much, guys. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button if you do want to see more. It's another short and sweet video. I'm going to be doing another one as well, mainly based around me looking at some of the changes in the codexes and, of course, some of the points changes, but I'll probably do them at the same time as looking at the video regarding the actual codex themselves. Not all the codexes have been redone. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but majority of them seem to have had an update. But thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.